In this video, I'm going to share with you magnetic secrets that make empaths energetically irresistible. These are things that will increase your level of magnetism in your body. These are also things that will help you feel more safe in your own body, safe in your own frame, so that when you're dating, when you're out there in the world, you feel your most attractive and magnetic self. Now, the first thing to understand about being an empath is, first off, what is an empath? An empath is somebody that can feel and empathize with other people because they can really feel and tap into what other people are thinking and feeling. And with empaths, they very much are tuned to other people. They can tune to other people's thoughts, feelings, emotions, and really feel into that. Now, sometimes what happens with empaths is they believe that being an empath is a problem, or they believe that it is like bad, or it's something like they almost feel like I'm too sensitive, I can feel too much, and that makes me less attractive. Now, one of the things you want to understand about this is when we have an insecurity and we feel insecure about something, because we feel insecure about it, we project that energy out, and then sometimes we may even attract people that will manipulate that energy, because they will know that someone else tunes to someone else, so they may use that, and it might be manipulative. That's why sometimes empaths attract narcissists, because that energy dynamic is playing off of the narcissism that likes to control. The empaths find value in other people's frame, and that can be why that energy is attracted. Now, one of the things, though, about this to understand when it comes to empaths is one of the most powerful things you can do with being an empath is to first off reframe what it means to be an empath, and to know that if you own it, it will transform it. So if we feel guilty, or we feel like, it's almost like if we had like a mole, or we had something on our face, that's like a physical thing. It's like imagine being shy, and someone that's shy feels guilty for being shy. They feel like they shouldn't be shy. Then they're out in public and they're worried they're not saying enough or something. And then someone else says, "Why are you so quiet?" And they're literally reflecting back the insecurity about being shy. But if somebody were to own being shy and not care and not be attached to like what someone else thinks because they owned it, like I'm not loud as hell, bro, it's not that big of a deal, then that energy being emanated off of that person because they own it, it's very less likely that someone's going to say something like that. Or even if they do say it, it's not going to affect you. Now, whether it's a freckle, whether it's your height, whether it's your eye, whatever it is, whatever that is, if you own it, it completely changes the level of magnetism. So one of the things I recommend you do is own this degree of empathy that you have and use it and think of it as a benefit. Think of it as like a superpower. Now, in a certain way, though, I don't want to take this too far, because I do believe there's things to learn from being an empath, and we'll talk about that in this video for sure. And I'm not saying it's a problem. At the same time, I'm not saying that it is the most powerful, like it's not something to get too tied to as far as the identity goes, because sometimes what happens is we're then tied to the identity of being an empath, and we stay tied to that, and we have this like identity with being very sensitive and feeling everyone else's emotions, and that can sometimes work against us, because then we feel like we're a victim of our environment or a victim of other people. But if you were to own being an empath and just own that you may be more sensitive and not feel guilty or self-conscious or insecure about it, it will make your energy way more magnetic. This works for everything, by the way, not just being an empath. This works for being your height. It works for if you have freckles or something to do with your appearance or your personality. You just own it. And if you own it, other people feel that you own it, and they respect that. And the insecurity is just not feeling certain or not feeling like you're going to be accepted. But you can accept yourself. You can own it, and that changes everything. Now, the second thing for empaths that make them irresistible has to do with learning how to hold your own frame. This is probably the most magnetic thing you can do, because you already have a part that a lot of people lack when it comes to relationships and dating and dynamics in general, and that is empaths are generally very good at listening. They're very good at holding space and listening and tapping into what someone else is feeling, and that can be very attractive. Now, the thing to be careful not to get caught up in, though, is tuning to someone else to please them and changing your own sense of gravity and who you're projecting out because you want someone else to like you or approve of you. So one of the most powerful things you can do is actually to feel safe in your own frame and to not tune to someone else to get, that's called people pleasing. People pleasing is not attractive because it's doing something to get a result. I'm going to please you to get you to like me. I'm going to please you to get your validation or your approval. And that literally implies a lack of value. You don't have to please anybody for you to feel and to be attractive or for you to be and to feel enough. You can give yourself that emotions and the validation and the approval that you're craving in somebody else. But with empaths, if they tune too much to the other person, then the energy is being projected at them. And when the energy is being projected at somebody else, it repels them. You don't want to put all of your attention on somebody else. I've shared this before in like 5 or 6 other videos, so I'm sorry if it's repetitive. But at this life transformation spot, or this place I was at in Costa Rica, there was like this training we were going through, this energetic training with this lady that gave a TED Talk. And she did this thing where she's like, everyone send energy to me right now. And everyone was sending her energy and it was making her back up. And she's like, I can feel this. And it was like repelling her. So now everyone bring the energy back in your bodies. Bring it into your bodies. Feel inside your bodies. Bring it back to you. Bring it back to you. Bring it back to you. And she says that energetically, it has a gravity, has gravitation. Now, empaths, I have an empath video, by the way, that will completely change. It's gone viral recently. It'll completely change your perspective on empaths and being an empath and help you heal aspects of yourself that are trying to find validation or approval in other. I'll link that at the end of this video. But basically what happens is if we tune too much to others, we are then diffusing our energy. It's diluting it. But when we bring the energy back to self and we're saying things that we think is funny and we're being in our own frame, it is so magnetic and it changes everything. It is so the frame technique is something I've shared many times before, and it is the one thing that changes everything when it comes to magnetic energy for people. Feel inside your hands. Feel inside your feet. Feel the separation between you and someone else. And know that really what it is, by the way, if we're afraid of rejection or afraid of someone else rejecting us, it's an abandonment wound that we normally got from childhood. And we're trying to change ourselves to not be abandoned. The challenge is that we've already abandoned ourselves to do that. We're abandoning ourselves to like get someone else's approval or to project something else out to other people. So one of the most magnetic things you can possibly do is to bring your energy back into your body, to feel safe inside of your own body, and to understand that as you do that, you are emanating off an energy that says, I'm safe and I feel present. And present energy is one of the most attractive things that there is. Now, when we talk about owning it, and the third magnetic secret that I want to share when it comes to empaths that will make you so much more magnetic, it has to do with listening and feeling inside of your body as you're listening. So listening is already a benefit. I know I talked that apart a little bit about number 2, but listening to someone else is very attractive. It's holding energy. A lot of times in today's society, if you're dating someone, they just talk about themselves nonstop. So when you're actually able to listen, that's very powerful. But at the same time, you want to also be able to hold your own frame. So it's similar to the second secret, but it really has to do with in your side of your body, feeling the separation between you and the person you're talking to. And notice that if you say something, like I really encourage with the third secret is to really be vulnerable, because that's actually more the third secret. It's to be vulnerable. A lot of times as empaths, we feel other people's emotions, so we're afraid of being vulnerable because we don't want to get rejected. We don't want to be abandoned. But being vulnerable was the key to me really embodying the most magnetic version of me and attracting love. Sharing the real me. And there's 3 different types of vulnerability. There's social vulnerability, there's emotional vulnerability, and there's physical vulnerability. And for me, what that meant is being vulnerable in all 3 of those places. So when I was dating someone, I'd be physically vulnerable too. I was always afraid to be flirty or touchy-feely with people because I was afraid of rejection. I started doing that. It changed everything. And it does put yourself out there where you could get rejected, but guess what? It's something that then you realize that even if you get rejected, it's almost like you're saving time. And if you get rejected, it's not because you're not good enough. It's just because maybe it didn't resonate. At the same time, what is social vulnerability? That's the ability to walk up to someone and introduce yourself, not being afraid of other people like judging you. And emotional vulnerability is actually being able to express your real emotions, how you feel. And one thing that I learned to do is to really express, like when I have emotions for someone or I feel attracted to someone, to express that. Because as an empath or a people pleaser back in the day, I would date someone for like a month or two, and sometimes they would wonder. I wouldn't either make a move or I wouldn't emotionally be vulnerable, and they would like me, but they wouldn't know where does he stand with me? Does he like me? And then eventually I started expressing that. And as I started expressing that, it was very clear, totally different level of attraction. So as an empath, realize you can own it, but don't get too attached to the identity. Let go of the people-pleasing mentality by realizing that that's just a coping mechanism to try to get validation and approval from other people, and start to feel safe in your own body. Start to bring the energy back, because as you bring the energy back, you will be more magnetic, you will be more attractive, and you will notice that as you feel safe inside of your own body, it changes absolutely everything. Now, if you have questions and you want to ask me questions, or you want me to text you my top epiphanies, the current books I'm reading, and powerful high vibe thought of the days, I do this 3 times a week. And all you got to do is text me your question, and I'll be answering these questions in YouTube videos and stuff. And you text me at 424-304-0104, or you can click the link in the top of my description box. Text me your questions, and I'll be either replying to them, answering them in YouTube videos, and I'll send you 2 or 3 of those top epiphanies things every week. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, there's an empath video that's going viral that will change your life if you're an empath. I swear it's one of the most powerful videos I have on being an empath and how to transform it. Watch this video right here. What I share with you in this video, I believe is one of the most profound ideas that has changed my life when it comes to understanding what it means to be an empath. And recently I was in a live Q&A I was doing for one of my groups, and I shared this idea, and I could tell that it was like